Before we begin, if you're brave enough to dive deeper into stories where every truth hides a darker lie, hit that subscribe button. You'll need it, because this one starts with a scream, a phone call, and a secret no one in that quiet town was ready for. The recording begins at exactly 2:14 a.m. A woman's voice, trembling, breathless, forces its way through the static of a stormy night. "Please, someone is in my house," she whispers. Then a crash. The line shakes. And the dispatcher, suddenly alert, urges her to stay on the line, but all they hear next is a soft, choked gasp, followed by silence. 10 minutes later, patrol units race through Ridgewood Heights, a wealthy suburb known more for its award-winning school district than midnight home invasions. Rain lashes against windshields as officers turn onto Brookstone Drive, a street lined with manicured lawns, no fences, no alarms, because people there believed bad things only happened elsewhere. But this night, blue and red lights cut across the perfect symmetry. Inside the two-story colonial home at the end of the cul-de-sac, officers find the front door cracked open. No sign of forced entry. No sign of the woman who placed the distress call. Emily Carter, a 34-year-old nurse, mother of one, recently separated from her husband. The living room is immaculate, untouched. But upstairs, a different story. The hallway carpet bears a dark smear, almost invisible in the low light. The officers kneel. It's blood. A few drops, nothing more, but enough to ignite the panic now humming through the house. They follow the trail down the corridor, expecting to find Emily injured, maybe unconscious. But instead, the trail ends abruptly beside her bedroom door, which sits wide open, as if inviting them inside. The bed is neatly made. Phone charger still plugged in. A half-read paperback waits on the nightstand. No signs of struggle, except for one detail that sends a wave of chills through the team. Emily's cell phone lies on the floor beside the bed, screen cracked, 911 still displayed. Detectives arrive within the hour. The lead investigator, Detective Lena Marlowe, walks the scene with a practiced calm. She's known for solving difficult cases, but something about this one feels wrong from the start. Everything is too clean, too staged, too silent. The storm outside muffles the night, but inside the home, the stillness feels suffocating. As Marlowe studies the footprints tracked in from the rain, she notices two sets, one belonging to Emily's slippers near the stairs, and one more recent, muddy, male-sized, and leading not toward the exit, but deeper into the house. Straight into the basement. The officers sweep the kitchen, then open the basement door. A cold draft slides past them, carrying that unmistakable scent of damp concrete. The stairs fade into darkness. They descend slowly, flashlights slicing through the shadows. At the bottom of the steps, something glints, a metal latch. A storage room. Locked from the outside. "Emily," an officer calls. No answer. Detective Marlowe kneels and inspects the lock. Fresh scratches. Someone forced it recently, but not enough to break it. Whoever locked this door intended for something or someone to stay inside. When they finally pry it open, the door creaks like a warning. Their flashlights sweep the room, illuminating scattered boxes, old toys, dusty furniture. Then the beam hits something that makes every breath freeze. In the corner sits a small wooden chair. On it lies a folded piece of paper, perfectly centered, bone-dry despite the basement humidity. Detective Marlowe reaches for it, but before she even unfolds it, she feels the weight of the message inside. The note reads, "You're already too late." The basement lights flicker once and the realization hits. Emily isn't the only one missing. Someone has been watching, planning, waiting. And the 911 call wasn't a cry for help. It was a warning. The note sits in Detective Marlowe's gloved hand, a thin slice of paper that suddenly feels heavier than any weapon. "You're already too late." The words loop in her mind as officers sweep the rest of the basement. But they find no body. No signs of Emily. Nothing but a message meant to taunt. Or guide. Marlowe steps away from the storage room, her thoughts racing. Whoever did this wasn't panicked. They weren't rushing. They had confidence, the kind that comes from knowing exactly how much time you have before the police arrive. And time is something no intruder should have had. Not unless they knew Emily's schedule, or Emily herself. 2 hours later, the rain eases, but the tension only deepens. Emily's estranged husband, Daniel Carter, arrives at the home after officers contact him. He steps out of the car stiffly, his expression unreadable. He had been staying at a rental after their separation, too many arguments, too much resentment, too many unspoken wounds. The marriage had been dissolving long before Emily disappeared. Daniel scans the scene, the flashing lights reflecting in his glasses. "Where's my wife?" he asks, voice tight. Marlowe watches him carefully. "We're doing everything we can." "When was the last time you spoke?" "2 days ago," he says, eyes flicking to the house. "We argued, but that wasn't unusual." Arguments. An open door. No forced entry. A woman who felt someone was in the house. The pattern hangs there, unspoken. They bring Daniel inside for questioning. His hands tremble slightly, shock, fear, guilt. Hard to tell. He explains that Emily had been receiving strange text messages for weeks. At first she brushed them off as spam, but then the messages shifted. Personal details. Her work schedule. Her son's school pickup times. Did she tell anyone? Marlowe asks. "She didn't want to worry our son," Daniel says. "And she didn't trust me anymore." Meanwhile, officers search the house again. One of them calls out from upstairs. "Detective, you need to see this." In Emily's office, a small room filled with family photos, medical textbooks, and a half-dead plant sits her laptop. The screen flickers as a forensic technician scrolls through her messages. Among the work emails and calendar reminders is a folder titled "If Something Happens to Me." Inside is a single video file. Dated 1 week earlier. They press play. Emily appears on screen, sitting in the same office where they now stand. Her hair is pulled back, but her eyes are red, exhausted, frightened. "If you're watching this," she begins, voice tight, "it means I didn't stop it in time." Detective Marlowe leans closer. Emily continues. "I know someone is in the house when I'm not here. They move things. Not a lot, just enough to make me question myself. But I'm not imagining it. Yesterday I found footprints on the carpet in the guest room. I live alone." Her swallow is audible. "I don't know who's watching me. But I think it's someone who wants me to feel unsafe. Someone who wants me alone." The screen glitches for a moment, then returns. "If anything happens, check the basement," Emily says. "There's something down there I didn't put there." The video ends. Silence takes over the room. Marlowe turns to the technician. Rewind. Freeze at the timestamp. The technician obeys. "Do you see that?" Marlowe says, pointing at a blurred figure reflected faintly in the office window behind Emily. A silhouette. Motionless. Watching her film the message. Someone had been in the room with her. Marlowe's pulse spikes. If the person in the reflection was the same one who left the note, then Emily wasn't abducted in a panic, she was taken by someone who had been inside her home multiple times, someone who knew her patterns intimately. Before Marlowe can issue new orders, an officer rushes into the room, out of breath. "Detective, you need to come outside. Now." They hurry out to the driveway, where a patrol car has just stopped. An officer steps out holding a sealed evidence bag. Inside is Emily's necklace, the one she wore every day, found half a mile away in a drainage ditch. But that isn't the disturbing part. Attached to the chain is another note, written in the same hand as the basement message. "You're following the wrong trail. Look closer at who called 911. Detective Marlowe stares at the note, her chest tightening. Because suddenly, one terrifying realization hits her. Emily wasn't the only one who could have called for help that night. Detective Marlowe stares at the new note, her breath caught somewhere between dread and clarity. Look closer at who called 911. The words gnaw at her. For hours, the assumption had been simple, Emily made the call. But the voice on the recording, whispering, terrified, had been muffled by static, distorted by the storm. No one had questioned it. No one had imagined another possibility. Until now. She orders the audio lab to enhance the 911 tape immediately. While they work, officers broaden the search radius. Helicopters comb the woods behind Brookstone Drive. K9 units sweep drainage paths. Every neighbor is questioned. Every camera, every doorbell, every phone along the street is pulled for footage. By 9 a.m., the rain has stopped. But the gloom has not. Marlowe returns inside, studying the office window reflection again. The silhouette is tall, broad-shouldered, not enough to ID, but enough to confirm something chilling. Emily wasn't just being watched. She was being hunted. Moments later, the audio lab calls in. "Detective, we've isolated the voice from the 911 call. You need to hear this." She steps into the mobile command truck where the technician sits, headphones around his neck. He presses play. The call begins as before, the shaky breaths, the whisper, the crash. But now the static is gone. The sound is clearer, sharper, and unmistakably wrong. "This isn't Emily," the technician says quietly. The voice is female, yes, but older. Mid-40s. Slight accent. It doesn't match Emily's voice prints at all. Marlowe feels a cold wave roll through her. So someone else was in the house, pretending to be her. Or, the technician says, someone wanted us to believe Emily was the victim before anything even happened. The implications hit hard. The intruder hadn't just come for Emily. They had set the scene. Controlled it. Manipulated it. A staged 911 call. A staged disappearance. A staged trail leading nowhere. But why? Before Marlowe can answer that question, an officer rushes into the truck. "Detective, we found something behind the house." They lead her to the tree line at the edge of the yard. The earth there is disturbed, shallow, messy, like someone had been digging but stopped. In the dirt is a partially buried metal lockbox. Marlowe kneels and lifts it out. It's heavy. Old. Rusted. She snaps the clasp with a tool and opens it. Inside are photos. Dozens. All of Emily. Some taken through windows, some from behind as she walked to her car, some inside grocery stores, and one taken in her office, the same angle from the reflection video. Stalking material. Detailed. Organized. But tucked beneath the photos is something that freezes everyone around her. A driver's license. Not Emily's. Daniel Carter's. Marlowe grips the license, her mind racing. Was Daniel the stalker? Was someone framing him? Why hide this box where it could be found so easily? Why place the necklace where it would be discovered within hours? Unless someone wanted this entire investigation to collapse in on itself. The pieces snap together with terrifying clarity. The staged 911 call. The staged clues. The staged panic. Everything backloaded with misdirection. Marlowe stands abruptly. This wasn't about Emily. It wasn't even about Daniel. Someone is controlling the story. Someone wants us chasing shadows. At that exact moment, dispatch radios in, urgency cracking through the static. "Detective Marlowe, we just got a new call. A woman found wandering near Ridgewood Park. Disoriented. Barefoot. Says her name is Emily Carter." Marlowe's heart slams against her ribs as she runs to her car. When she arrives at the park, officers surround a bench where a woman sits wrapped in a blanket, trembling. Emily. Alive. But her expression is hollow. Haunted. Like she has seen something no one should ever see. Marlowe kneels beside her. "Emily, you're safe. Tell me what happened." Emily lifts her eyes, and the words that fall from her lips shatter every assumption made since the case began. "It wasn't a break-in," she whispers. "I left the house myself. I was running from someone. Someone who knows all of you. Someone who's been watching the police, not me." Marlowe's breath stops. "Who?" Emily shakes her head, terrified. "He said he'd make sure you followed the wrong trail. He said he'd make sure you never saw his real target." "Who, Emily? Who was it?" Emily finally answers, voice breaking. "He said his name was Marlowe." Detective Lena Marlowe freezes, the world collapsing inward as officers around her turn, stunned, unsure, suddenly alert. Because the final twist isn't about Emily, or Daniel, or any staged clue. The final twist is that the person orchestrating the entire nightmare had studied Marlowe so well. He could impersonate her. Down to her voice. Her style. Her knowledge of police procedure. The real target was the detective all along. And somewhere out there, the imposter walks free.